Good evening and welcome to week 11 of Around the OrkneyBowl. It's week 11 already, Craig. How's it going?
Good evening, Johnny. Yeah, week 11, 3 weeks to go in the regular season. We're getting close to we're certainly in the home straight now, and it's at the moment, it's that time of the season, where there's a lot of teams playing and it's must win now. Every game's a must win now. There's a few teams that, are in and that's fine and they're away, and there's a few teams at the bottom that are out and that's fine, they're away. But I would say the vast majority are now in that win now period of the season, where if they don't win, they're going to hurt themselves badly.
Definitely. And in the space of a week, obviously the Giants released their quarterback and Aaron Rodgers is probably not going to play for the Jets again. It's been a good week for the New York football teams.
Well, here's the thing. How's about a wee swappity do, eh? Jones to the Jets and Rodgers to the Giants. That would be interesting.
No. I think I'd rather have Tony fucking Danny DeVito. I don't mind Tony fucking.
I think Rodgers has got his eye on Minnesota.
I'd rather have Drew Lock playing, but that's the way it goes. But they're obviously thinking about next year.
I think Rodgers wants to go the Favre route. I think he wants to copy everything Favre's done. So I reckon he's got his eye on Minnesota and he's wanting his final year over there.
Surely they're not going to be that stupid. Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah, oh God. Oh no, you won't face him either. But no, he has been pretty bloody bollocks this year anyway. Like, so yeah. We'll get started then. So there was a trade last week. And it was in my division. Oh, I'll have to move our heads so we can actually see the other team. I got informed that we couldn't see the teams, so I managed to get the teams on this one. I'll just move us about so we can actually see them.
I mean, in all
this
honesty,
is the teams after free agency. So
I'm really not 100% sure kind of what Sean's doing with this one, to be honest with you. I mean, the Newcastle Colts, I mean, they're giving up Rico Dowdle, who's actually started to do a little bit of something and seems to be about the only offensive player in the Dallas team that you maybe want your hands on, apart from maybe Lamb, but even at that, you're pushing it. And he's picking up Jalen Waddle, who's done a whole lot of nothing. I mean, I'm guessing that he's assuming that Waddle's going to start picking up as the season goes on, and fair enough if that's the case. Waddle must have a decent run in the last 3 games as well, so looking towards the playoffs and stuff. But when you look at that,
I do apologise having the wrong players on there, but never mind. But yeah, he did pick up Kendricks this week too, unlikely. But he has got Barkley, Mixon, Kamara, and Eckler, and Akers.
And I would rather be on the Yorkshire Finns end of this trade, and certainly when you look at the team there, when Mattison plugged in at the running back position, he's got Allen and Corum, Benson, Vidal, a whole lot of all the rookies that aren't really doing anything, So I understand why he's going for Rico Dowdle at 4 and 6 as well, wanting a wee push to get into the playoffs. I understand that. At Sean's side, I'm not quite getting. I think he might regret giving up Rico Dowdle when we get to playoff time.
Well, I'm not exactly over the moon because obviously I'm in a battle with Duke Mueller for the final playoff spots. But yeah, maybe that's why he's done it, just to piss me off. But no, he doesn't need him either. But he's got McLaren, Watson, Devontae Smith. I suppose he has a bit short of MBS, Pittman down the bottom. He's got the number one.
He loves that trade.
He does.
Do you know what the thing about Sean is? See, if you keep saying no, and he's not getting the trade from elsewhere, he'll come back and give you what you want. He always, because he wants that trade. He always likes to be trading. The Tinker Man.
He does that, but yeah. So you prefer the Yorkshire side than the Newcastle?
I definitely prefer the Yorkshire side of this. I mean, don't get me wrong. If Jalen Waddle can bounce back to be the player that Jalen Waddle that we think, he might make a difference for Sean on the way to the title. I'm just worried that Jalen Waddle's kind of a dead duck for the season, and they're not far out of being out of it, Now they play New England this week, but New England haven't, they've not been good. But it's the kind of game. This is the kind of game that the Patriots will step up and maybe have a good shout of winning. Then they've got to go to Lambeau next week, and the Dolphins have got one mistake max. They can only lose one more game, and then it's game over. So you know, if they're already out the playoffs, I'm not sure how much Waddle will be effective in the run-in, but, you know, who knows?
Well, on the other side, you might get more of Waddle and less of Hill, because I want to keep Hill. So you might see more Waddle and less Hill, because obviously Hill's getting more of the ball. So,
Maybe, but I can also see them sitting Tua towards the end if it's if they're right out of it. You know, I can see them putting Tua on the bench and saving them for next year. So we'll, at the end of it, it's one of those trades where, you know, one of them could work out, neither of them could work out type thing, but it's a 50-50 shot, really. It's you know, one needed a running back and one wanted a wide receiver, so that's the trade that's been made.
Yeah. So we'll head on to the divisions now. So we've got the St Magnus Division 1. So the 1 and 2 were up against each other to start with. So the Glasgow Eagles 228.39 up against the Carlton Crew 229.68, and that is official. No score corrections because obviously it's after Thursday. The Dublin Everton Blues are defending champion 198.18 against 176.48 Ancoats Citizens. Manchester Bees 207.34 against the Waterloo Warriors 199.14. Seattle Patriots 294.62 against 188.14 Leeds Lassos. Leicester Tigers 190.39 up against the Whitford Rockstars 207.74, and the EK Colts 176.36 to 160.48 for Lassen Deep Freeze. So the Carlton Crew are now 9 and 2, top of the division, up against the Glasgow Eagles 8 and 3. We've actually scored 200 more points, but obviously you've got to win the games. Then you've got the Manchester Bees.
Carlton Crew also have the win against them in this week as well, you know, so that's effectively a 2-game lead. So I would say that Carlton Crew only need one more win now to make sure of the bye.
Yeah, there's no head-to-head, but if they slip up, then it'll be level again. You got the Manchester Bees and Whitford Rockstars 74, Seattle Patriots and Leeds Lassos 6 and 5, the Waterloo Warriors at 5 and 6, Dublin Blues, Ancoats Citizens, EK Colts, Alaskan Deep Freeze at 4 and 7, and the Leicester Tigers at 2 and 9. So this is where Waterloo Warriors, who just lost by 7 points, would have actually jumped above Leeds Lasso if they'd won, because they've scored more points, but unfortunately they didn't get the win. So it's that close. So
that win for Seattle Patriots over Leeds Lassos has kind of kept the 4 and 7s in it a little bit, in the sense that, you know, there are only 3 games to go now, so the 4 and 7s have really got to win out, and, you know, Patriots and Lassos need to be losing. So the fact that the Seattle Patriots from 5 and 5 beat Leeds Lassos, who were 6 and 4, if Leeds Lassos won that one, it puts them on to 7 wins, and it kind of knocks the 4s out of that spot, you know. So at least they've still got 2 to play for now, 5 and 6, and, you know, it keeps you interested if there's only that one slot left, and you know that there's a couple of teams above you are going to win 2 out of 3, so kind of puts you out of it a bit, you know. But yeah, with 2 spots and of the playoffs still on 6 wins, the 4 wins aren't out of it yet by any manner of means, so all to play for still.
Definitely. Well, Seattle Patriots are on a 3-game win streak, and you've got the Whitford Rockstars at 2. Carlton Crew are on now a 5-game win streak, and down the bottom there you've got EK Colts at 4 and 7. That's on a 2-game win streak, but they did this last year. They came on at the end, but they've maybe left it a bit too late this year.
That's the thing, you know, you can't leave it too late, and we see that happen quite a lot all over the place. You know that they just leave that the run comes just 1 game too late type thing. You know, I mean, remember Sean in the home league, that he finished with 6 wins in a row last year. Unfortunately, he was 1 and 7 when it started, so the 7 and 7 just lost out and no more. He just missed out the playoffs. But yeah, huge game. This is a big win for Carlton Crew. It kind of puts them in pole position for getting that bye week now, and the bye week's huge because the bye week you could have that off week in week 1, and your players don't play, and if you're not playing anyone, you've got a bye. Then it doesn't matter; they can do what they want, you know. So it's a great win for Carlton Crew this week, despite the fact fielding Mike Williams, who's a funny one over in Pittsburgh, isn't it? You would think with them trading for him, they'd be trying to find him the ball a wee bit more, but they just don't seem to be bothered at all.
Well, his first catch was a touchdown, was it? Not had anything since, I think. So he didn't even get a target that game. That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah, that was he only played about 29% of snaps or something like that.
And you got Brock Bowers at nearly 50 points, is quite impressive. So that helps.
Brock Bowles is, I mean, look at what Brock Bowles is doing with that crappy Raiders team. Think what he would be doing if he was sitting in a, 49ers or a Kansas City, or a team that really use the tight ends well. It's that he would be an absolute beast of a. I mean, he's a beast of a player as it is. I would love to have him in some dynasties. Unfortunately, I don't. But yeah, huge player, and I think he can make a big difference for Carlton Crew in the run in as well. And top of the division now, they'll be looking towards the Orkney Bowl and giving it a good old go. They had a good goal last year and fell just short, but they've got a good chance of going better this year and getting that
that's it.
win.
I think they were they were the highest scorer last year, I think, but just came up short in the playoffs. So far in week 12, you've got the
Blues at 4-7. That's the one that nobody wants to catch. The defending champions, if they can sneak their way into those playoffs, and that's them kind of on their wee starting to win a bit now, so if they can sneak their way into the playoffs, they'll be dangerous. But outside of that, it's kind of Glasgow Eagles look very strong and Carlton Crew look very strong in this division.
Yeah, so you've got the Ancoats Citizens here up against the Glasgow Eagles. Glasgow Eagles got a 7-point lead. Then you've got the Waterloo Warriors up against the Carlton Crew. The Dublin Blues up against Leeds. So that is a good one. If they get that one game back, that'll be a good win for them. The Manchester Bees up against the Leicester Tigers. And the EK Colts against the Seattle Patriots. So the Seattle Patriots looking to put a bit of leeway and get their 7th win. And the Whitford Rock Stars up against Alaskan Deep Freeze, which could be looking like a close one, but I can't imagine it will be the way it's going, but you never know.
Well, the good thing for the 4-7s here is they're all playing, the two of them are playing the 6-5s, so that would be huge wins. The 2-4 of EK Colts can win, and and Dublin Everton Blues can win, and leave Leeds Lassos and Seattle Patriots at 6-6 apiece and not going any further forward. That really opens up the division and it gives them all a chance, So they're two massive games this week in the context of the playoffs.
Definitely.
I'm actually surprised. Evening, Derek. How are you, sir? I'm actually surprised about the EK Colts and the Seattle Patriots having so many points. Can we click in there and see who's got all those points? I was expecting pretty much Chubb to be the only point scorer of any relevance.
EK Colts had Chubbs and Harris, and Seattle Patriots had Jerry Jeudy and George Pickens.
So it's
Jeudy had a good game, so yeah.
Yeah, Jeudy done well in this format, I guess, and Pickens wasn't awful, I guess. Obviously, I was expecting every team that has Chubb to have a lead and everyone else to be a little bit meh. But that's a good start to that game as well. And it's a couple of players each that have gone. So it'll be interesting to follow that one. That one in Dublin Everton Blues, Leeds Lassos.
Definitely. So we'll go on to the next division. My one. So you've got the Orkney Orcas. Woohoo! 242.05 against the 204.84 Bankfoot Panthers.
He scored, Johnny.
I know, it's like 3 in a row now, I think. The Warners Bay Goonies 230.08 against 173.54. Newcastle Colts back to the winning ways 274.41 against the Glossop Fighting Gophers 171.66. Stockholm Bengals 248.47 up against the Buccaneers 228.33, so that's a close game. Solihull Sharks 187.68 up against the Godalming Goats 215.48. Then you've got the Yorkshire Finns 128.29 up against the Whitehall White Tigers 176.29. So this is the Godalming Goats are up at 9-2, followed by Newcastle Colts and Whitehall White Tigers at 8-3. Warners Bay Goonies at 7-4. This is the fun part. Harrow Harlequins, Stockholm Bengals, Bankfoot Panthers, and Orkney Orcas all at 5-6. Then you've got the Solihull Sharks, Yorkshire Finns at 4-7, Glossop Fighting Gophers, and the Buccaneers at 3-8. So it's pretty close for the last 2 playoff spots.
I mean, the thing is here, if the Glossop Fighting Gophers and sorry, take me down to the bottom again, Johnny. Let me see the bottom two again. The Buccaneers, yeah. If those two if either of them can win out, the thing is, the 5 and 6 goes all the way up to 5th place here, so there are 2 spots still remaining. And if it doesn't go that way, then if you do end up in the bottom half, and if you can get that bye for the consolations as well, it just gives you that so much better chance of staying in the division, because I believe that you'll only then need to win one game to stay in the division.
In the bottom
Would
half,
that be
yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yep,
so
that's
it's when you're down there, it's all about the relegation and staying up as well. So if you can get, even if you're not going to get into playoffs, securing 7 and 8 and getting the bye in week 1 and the consolations is a huge thing as well. So all to play for all of these teams here, every single one of them. There's nobody out of it in this division yet. And obviously up at the top, you've got Newcastle Colts are obviously chasing now, and whoever else, the Warner Bay Goonies. The Warner Bay Goonies are now looking at it and thinking, I'm not getting first. I'm just going to one more win, secure down the playoff spot, and take it from there. The White Tigers and Newcastle Colts will both still have their eye on the bye.
Well, the White Tigers are on an 8-game winning streak, and Godalming Goats are on a 4-game winning streak. I'm on
an 8-game winning streak.
I'm on yeah, they were 0-3.
Who's on the 8-game winning streak? White Tigers.
Yeah, and third.
That's a heck of a run after a 0-3 start. That must be the highest winning streak we've got going at the moment, 8 in a row, because that's massive. So that's great play from the White Tigers. They've started badly and they've not panicked and they've just kept themselves going and they've got that first win and it's just taken off from there. So great play from White Tigers if they're 8 in a row.
Definitely. I like to say the Buccaneers have had a good start this week, unfortunately, because they're playing me. So they've got a 49-point start.
49-point start? How have they managed that, Johnny? That's a lot. They must have just
Jameis Winston,
who's playing.
Jameis Winston, Nick Chubb, and Chris Boswell. Boswell
as kicker. He didn't do as well as he has been of late, only 7, shall we say? Only 7 points for Boswell, but
he missed 250 yards.
It's a big start. It's a big start, Johnny, but it's 3 players.
I know. I'm hoping that's what it is that way. You got the back foot Panthers at 19.9 up against the Warner Bay Goonies at 15.55. The Gossip Fighting Gophers, they're up against the Harrow Harlequins. They've got an 18-point lead. Newcastle Colts are up against the Solihull Sharks. Who've got a 30-point lead. And the Yorkshire Finns are up against the Stockholm Bengals, who've got a 10-point lead. And then you've got the Godalming Goats, who've got a 12-point lead over the White Tigers. There's a couple of
game for White Tigers here on. You've got the 9 and 2 top of the division against the 8-game win streak, so that'll be huge in terms of buys. I'm assuming that with 6 going through, 2 teams get buys, so kind of second place will get the buy as well.
Yeah, the top 2 got a buy, then the other 4 play for it.
So that's huge, in the terms of it, second place getting it. So that's a big game there because Newcastle Colts, you've got to think, will be heavy favourites against Solihull Sharks. So that's one that Sean will be looking down at that game and loving that they're playing each other. But for everyone else, it's game on. They are all must wins. All of those 5-6s, it's all must wins. And
especially if the White Tigers beat the Godalming Goats and Sean wins, Sean will go back to being top. Because I think he scored a couple of 100 points more than the team above him. So unless it's like a massive high score, Sean would go back to top.
Here,
it's pretty close between. Yeah, there's 100 points between first and third. But yeah, White Tigers will want to get the win anyway, just to get level on points.
Well, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, there's 2 buy spots, so it's not just first you're playing for; it's first and second. Of course, you want to win you want to win your division, you want to win the league, but the regular season. But at the end of the day, it's only the first 2 that. If you get second, you're delighted. You've got the buy.
Definitely. Because that's the thing, you've got the
Bankfoot Panthers as well. What a story of! It's a story of 2 seasons for the Bankfoot Panthers. They must be on a bit of a losing run. What's the losing run for Bankfoot Panthers now, Johnny?
4 games.
4 in a row. Yeah, Fraser got hit with injuries, and he went from absolutely adoring the team and loving the team to absolutely hating it just about overnight, So that's a
Well,
slide easy, and but he's still well in it. 3 weeks to go, he's still well in it. He just needs to stop that slide. Find a win from somewhere, get himself back on the up. With a couple of weeks to go, he can still easily sneak into the playoffs.
Well, you've got the bye week. You've got the bye. 6 teams on bye this week, so that's going to hit some teams, and you've got a few teams on bye week 14 as well, 14. Like big teams like the Ravens, the Commanders, and a couple. They're all week 14. So if you've got like Jackson or Jaden Daniels,
you've got some huge ones this week. You've got the Bengals out this week. You've got the Bills out this week. There's a lot of players there that will be involved. I mean, for example, I'm missing Cook and I'm missing Chase, two of my top players. So I'm a bit annoyed about that. But it is what it is. I seen it coming and I knew it was coming. So just got to live with it. I just wish I wasn't in such a battle. But yeah, I mean, if Fraser can stop the rot, if he can't stop the rot, I mean, you don't want to be heading into the consolation playoffs on a bad losing run, because that's got relegation written all over it.
Yeah. But let's see. Even if you finish 6th, you'll get a buy into, or 7th, you'll get a buy into, and only about 1 game to stay up. So it's not as if you have to go right from the bottom teams. But
the bye position for me, whatever one you're going to be in, I still think it's very important to get that first week bye, because it just gives you that wee bit of leeway. You don't need to worry about week 15. You just sit out week 15, wait and see what happens, wait and see who you're playing. And it puts, if you have that crappy week in week 15, it does not matter one iota. If you have that crappy week in week 15 and you're playing, you're out. That's it. Bye-bye. So I do think that bye spot is very important to get hold of for the playoffs.
Yep. Then we'll go into your division next. We've got the Queen Hill. You've got the Hot Dogs, 232.48 against the Near Knights, 195.24. Glenorth's the Nasgos finally lost their first game, 205.04 up against 210.33 the Darlington Rams. The Top Head Niners, 241.83, looking like they were going to win, but came a cropper against the Lee Vikings with 258.27. Glasgow Scorpions, 180.19 up against the Portsmouth Pirates, 206.98. You've got the Preston Panthers. For a little while, looked like they were going to be a bit closer, 156.2 up against 184.82. The Edinburgh Packers. Newcastle Masters, having one of the lowest scores, 163.89 up against the Leeds Lepers, 200.08. Let's say, so that's the Nasgos at 10-1. Leeds Lepers at 8-3 on their own. And you've got Newcastle Masters, Darlington Rams at 7-4. Then they've got the Edinburgh Packers in 5th over the Top Head Niners, both on 6-5. The Hot Dogs and the Lee Vikings at 5-6. Preston Panthers at 4-7. Chicago Scorpions and Portsmouth Pirates at 3-8. And down the bottom, they've got the Near Knights at 2-9. So 6-5 is holding the top, the last playoff spot here. Battle you and Doug.
So I mean, our ones, it's basically me and Doug. As I said, that the Doug losing that game was huge for him, and as you say, it was a bit of a turnaround. It did look like he was going to win it for a long, long way, but if you click into the game, you'll see. I'm sure it was a Friday night thing that hurt him more than anything, but it certainly kept. It's helped me. It's knocked me up one. The other one who lost a bad one. Jerry Judy turned up in the evening, and Lamb getting them 23 points in the later on game. The late game, it was Lamb popping up with them, and Judy turning up with a good few from nowhere. I mean, he's got no complaints. He's got like a cup there. Got the points from nowhere as well. And the other one that was a big one, the Darlington Rams getting that win over the Nazgulls. We were really, the rest of the league wanted Nazgulls to win that one. They're gone. See you later. But Sam's pulled one out of the hat, despite Stroud being the quarterback. He just got him there in the end of Monday night, didn't he? I mean, it's 5 points or so in it.
Yeah,
but it's a huge win for Darlington Rams. It kind of makes sure. I would say it's it puts one foot in the playoffs, certainly, on 5 wins. You've got Hot Dogs and Lee Vikings both on 5 and 6, and Preston Panthers are not out of it yet on 4 and 7, but the other 3 are now, and it's so the 7 and 4s, New Bars and Mashers and Darlington Rams, they're pretty much there now. One more win makes sure, but at worst they're going to be playing it out. You would think they've got one out of 3, so they're at least playing it out for the points, in the tie break.
So, well, you have the best winning record in the division. You're on a 4-game win streak, and the Leaf Lassos are on a 3-game win streak. So, let's say you're hitting the latter part of the season in the right way. So,
I was the ones that I was losing. Just the team. It wasn't that the team was bad. They weren't performing. At least it was turned around a little bit now. I mean, I won this week with 170 points. It wouldn't have been enough to beat a lot of teams, It was enough to 184 points. Sorry, it was enough to get me over the line. It was enough to get me the win, and it's enough to keep me involved. But I still need 2 wins to get in, and I've got a very difficult game this week. If you go into week 12, you'll see that I have Leeds Leopards, who are 8 and 3 and chasing the bye week. They're now looking good to get a bye week, but need to keep winning to do so.
Yeah.
So it's a big game for me this week, and it's one of those ones where Darlington Rams and Hot Dogs, that's a huge game for me as well, because if the Rams can win that, the Hot Dogs on 5 wins, and I need them to stay there in case I don't win this week. Lee Vikings on 5 and 6. 2 huge games. Those 2 teams must win, And then the Preston Panthers, if they can somehow find a way to beat the top headliners, they do me a great big favour. But also, it would keep their slim chances alive, So all of these are big games. All of these are big games this week. And I'll tell you what, the 3 and 8s as well, they've still got it to play for, because they're not playing for getting into the playoffs now, but they are playing for that bye week.
Definitely.
And consolations.
And what happened there? What did Doug have? Well, Doug had Jalen Warren and
I've got so I mean, this is a huge game for Doug this week. If he can get that, if he wins this week, it pretty much puts him in, it'll put him in the playoffs. So it is a huge game for him. It's a huge game for me. If I can find a win, I'll feel more comfortable that I'm kind of in now, But as I say, I've got a big one. I've got a hard one.
You do indeed.
And these 5 and 6s. It's 5 and 6s I'm looking. Well, I mean, I've got no Chase and I've got no Cook this week. I've got Chase out, I've got Cook out, and that's 2 players that have scored a lot of points for me along the way. So I'm down to the bare bones basically this week, but I should get Pacheco back the week after as well. So I'm looking forward to that as well, and hopefully he can start doing a couple of things for me. And I've got that old quarterback issue where what one do you play? Do you play Tua? Do you play Murray? I've left myself that headache because I brought Tua in just to stop other people getting them.
Yeah, you got to play Murray though. I don't. Tua's not. Yeah, well, I would, but I'm not in your league, so I couldn't really pick. But I would probably play Murray over Tua. But I've been stuck with Tua in the past. That's why. But... So we'll go with Malhead division. So we've got the Plymouth Argyle. The Plymouth Argyle Browns 184.13 against the Yorkshire Los Muertos 253.18. Rotherham Raiders, probably one of the lowest scores, 187.19 of the season, coming up against the Aberdeen Bucks 233.83. The Edinburgh Thunderbirds 193.53 up against the Kirkwall Chargers 208.19. The Bodom Bears 172.899 against the Bucks Goldust 132.01. Laxdale Legends 241.95 against the Bedford Brewskis 181.04. The Workshop Dothrukis 170.34 up against the very own Pez 226.48. The Preston Panthers. So that now puts, because this is such a close division, the Kirkwall Chargers are now top of the division at 8 and 3 over the Edinburgh Thunderbirds 8 and 3, Preston Hawks 8 and 3, and Aberdeen Bucks 8 and 3. So they're all playing for the playoff, the top spot. Laxdale Legends at 6 and 5, and at 6 and the 6th spot you've got the Rotherham Raiders at 6 and 5, Workshop Dothrukis at 6 and 5, Bedford Brewskis at 6 and 5, the Bodom Bears at 6 and 5, 10th spot, you've got Yorkshire Lost Myrtles at 4 and 7. And down and out, you've got the Plymouth Argyle Browns at 2 and 9, and the Bucks Rovers at 2 and 9. You can only be looking at trying to, well, they can't go down anyway, so they can just have fun and muck up somebody else's chances. So.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. You never know. Get a wee run in those playoffs, and just go and win the consolations anyway. Why the hell not? There's nothing wrong with winning the consolations. But certainly, it's very tight down to 10th and Yorkshire Lost Myrtles. Every chance of getting in with one game back from the playoff spots. A lot, between obviously top 4 now are the top 4. They're going to be the top 4. They're playing out for the top 2 positions and playing for the 2 bye weeks, and it'll be very close between them by the looks of it. But from 5th down to 10th, there's 2 playoff spots to be played for, and it is absolutely wide open. So Rotherham Raiders, obviously, with the points advantage over them all. So that's kind of like that. That's like a game win at the moment. At 5 and 6, it's you only need to be tying. You only need to be tying 6th place, and you are going to be in because you've got the points. So it's a big advantage for Rotherham Raiders. That.
Yeah. So you got the Kirkwall Chargers are on a 5-game win streak, and the Preston Hawks are on a 6-game win streak. But say Rotherham Raiders, the amount of times they've come up against 200 points plus each week, they've been pretty unlucky. But also this week didn't score many, but they're still 2,345 points to score, which is a lot of bloody points for being in 6th spot.
Oh, absolutely. It's the most in the league.
So, yeah.
It's the most in the league by a country mile. I mean, without being funny, Kirkwall Chargers, Edinburgh Thunderbirds, Preston Hawks, Aberdeen Bucks are all sitting 8 and 3, and they will all love Rotherham Raiders to miss out in the playoffs looking at their points for. Because if they, when you're scoring like that, you are a danger in the playoffs 100%. They would much rather have the Bedford Brewskis sneaking in from 5 and 6 with 2015 points, and the Bodom Bears sneaking in with 2011 points. That's not to say these teams can't beat them. They can. But you really don't want to see Rotherham Raiders, who've scored more points than you throughout the season. So, they'll be hoping that Rotherham Raiders don't make it. And this, Aberdeen Bucks getting the win off them, that was huge for them this week. And whoever's playing them this week, if it's one of those 8 and 3 teams that have got Rotherham Raiders, it's a huge game to try and keep them out of the playoffs with the points that they've scored.
So we've got the Aberdeen Bucks up against the Plymouth Argyle Browns, so that could put a spanner in the works. Then you've got the Kirkwall Chargers up against the Yorkshire Lost Myrtles. Rotherham Raiders are playing Bucks Goldra, so that's basically
they get a good one.
Edinburgh Thunderbirds against the Laxdale Legends. The Workshop of Rookies against the Bodom Bears, 2 5 and 6s. That's a good one. Then you've got the Bedford Brewskis up against the Preston Hawks, the informed team, which could be a close game, but yeah.
Well, none of the 8 and 3s are playing each other, is that right? They're all playing different teams.
Yeah, they're all playing different teams.
Yeah, so I mean, the four of them win, then it keeps everything wide open, But Aberdeen Bucks have got obviously Plymouth Argyle Browns, so they'll be delighted with this game. Obviously, they're up against Chubb, which isn't the best of starts. But even at that, he scored 2 touchdowns, and he still only got 20-odd points. It's not massive,
Well, he only had 60. He only had about 60 yards, so he didn't have many yards. He just got the touchdowns on the goal line. 59 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, but he got the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns. He
didn't do much apart from the goal line.
No. I mean, it was one of those games, wasn't it? The weather just got worse and worse as it went on as well, and it became a bit of a farce. But yeah, I mean, Kirkwall Raiders. It's 8, against Yorkshire. They could put the final nail in Yorkshire's coffin, So that's one for them. And Laxdale Legends do not want to be dragged into that. So facing the Edinburgh Thunderbirds is tough for them as well, because the last thing they want to do is be dragged in, from 6 and 5, be dragged into the mire of the last couple of spots. They want to secure that place as quickly as possible.
Definitely. It's going to be, like I say, it's a good league to follow. But it would be quite ironic if Plymouth Argyle was actually going and beat Aberdeen Bucks after last week's performance.
Very tight. It's very tight.
They're going to get through anyway.
This is a league as well. See if you're starting. This is a league as well, Division 4. If you can go from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, that's, see what a target that would be for doing that. If you've ended up in Division 4, get yourself up into Division 3, get yourself up into Division 2, move through, do a Wrexham, just keep going up and up and up. And, that's what you're playing for from Division 4. It really is. And it's,
Definitely.
it'll be interesting to see if anyone can, it'll be interesting to see in all the divisions, those who get promoted, if they can then go on and secure it again, or whether they're kind of down in the bottom next year of the division that they went up into, because maybe that is just a step up. I think at the moment, because this is our first year, there would have been teams that done badly last year just because they got unlucky, and they'll be down here. So there will be a couple of teams that will go up and up and up. But I think after about 5 years or so, you will see that leveling out, and you'll see that the kind of teams in Division 4, Division 3, when they get that promotion, it'll take them a couple of years to get it again, just to because the standard will rise that little bit each time you go up.
People will get better. Well, some of us might get worse, but yeah, the ones that are new to it that have started off well this year will only get better. Like Gary, obviously, it's his second year. Last year he was bloody awful. This year he's got a chance. Well, he should make the playoffs at 8-3, but he's got a chance to get a bye and automatic promotion after last year starting 0-11. So.
And it is, and it's a lot of new players that are new to it, and you learn every year. I mean, I've been playing this for over 12 years now, and I'm still learning every year. I still learn things every year. And it is kind of. It'll be interesting to see when the teams, when the leagues do kind of level out to a standard, as opposed to it just being kind of off of 1 year. So it could be you could have had an unlucky year, and there could be experienced players down in Division 4 that are just going to run right through them. But I think after a few years, when it does level out, and it'll be interesting to see that standard rise in each kind of division that you go up,
I don't know my excuses. I've been playing for nearly 20 years, if not 20 years. But then the Giants have been shite for most of that too, so that makes up for it. Yeah, so that's the East Conference finish, and we'll go on to the West Conference. You've got the Gothenburg Angels, 175.09 up against Everett's Turbeville Titans, 197.84. The Kirkwall Raiders won a game. Woohoo! Brother Allen, 238.16 against the Yeovil Winners, 207.62. The Darlow Destroyers, 255.73 up against the Kirkwall Cowboys, 185.49. The Whitford Educators, 186.88 against the Bognor Regis Falcons, 231.24. The South London Rebels, 201.58 against the 208.30 Aaron's team, Royal Raiders. The Melbourne Supremacy, 188.24 against the Bognor Cowboys, 147.81. So the Darlow Destroyers now got to the top, 8-3 with the Bognor Regis Falcons at 8-3, and the South London Rebels all at 8-3. Then you've got Yeovil Winners and Melbourne Supremacy at 7-4, Gothenburg Angels at 6-5. Then you've got Bognor Cowboys and the Royal Raiders at 5-6. Turbeville Titans, Kirkwall Cowboys at 4-7. The Kirkwall Raiders and the Whitford Educators at 2-9. But Alan's just happy getting a win. So.
Sure, yeah, and it's again, it's all about staying in the division now for kind of Whitworth Educators and Kirkwall Raiders, both of whom won this week, so both of whom, are kind of coming into a little bit of form by the looks of it. Oh no, sorry, it was Turbeville Titans that won this week, not Whitworth Educators, sorry. But yeah, the problem the 4 and 7s have got in this division is there's only one team at 5 and 6 in the play. In fact, no team at 5 and 6 in the playoffs, so they are 2 behind with 3 to play. They're going to need Gothenburg Angels pretty much to lose out, one more win at the most. And they're going to need Yeovil Winners or the Melbourne Supremacy to lose out, which is not likely to happen, So I would say that this one is getting close to being sorted out, and who's going to be where. The Gothenburg Angels, Bognor Cowboys and Royal Raiders, for me, are kind of fighting out that last spot at the moment, and the rest of them should get in at this point. So it'll be interesting to see who wins out of that one. Is that Gothenburg Angels on a little bit of a losing streak now? That's more than one? They lost last week as well, didn't they?
No, they won the week before. They lost the week before that. They're on a one-game losing streak. Bognor Cowboys are on Graham's Bognor Cowboys a 3-game losing streak. Aaron's on a 2-game win streak. Melbourne Supremacy and the Bognor Regis Boggans and Darlow Destroyers are on a 2-game, but the South London Rebels are on a 2-game. They were 8-1. They're now 8-3. So.
And the problem that they've got down for the South London Rebels, it's not just the fact that they're down 8, that they've lost 2 in a row. That's kind of a little bit worrying, as you would say. But the Darlow Destroyers have got so many more points than them that obviously they're not going to lose that points difference. So they have to beat Darlow. They have to finish with a better win record than Darlow Destroyers if they want to finish above them. The good news for them is, of course, that there's a second spot to play for as well. And with them, the 3 of them 8-3, it's 2 of the 7 and 4s aren't out of it yet either. It would be folly to say otherwise, but I would, Darlow Destroyers are definitely holding the aces at the moment with the points for.
Yeah, so South London Rebels have still got 200 points, but obviously they came up against the Royal Raiders who got 208. So it's a bit unlucky that one.
The way
the Darlow Destroyers have been on a bit of a roll.
And especially when you're going up against you're going up against teams that are fighting for their life as well, though, You've got Aaron's fighting for his life, you don't want to be coming up against these teams that are fighting for their life because they're trying absolutely everything to make sure that they hold on there, So, yeah, these games can often turn around and go to the second favourite type thing, because just it's a must win. So you're more inclined to roll the dice a little bit as well and play someone that you maybe wouldn't have played if you're just kind of trying to keep it. You're going to go for high ceilings rather than low floors,
Yeah.
When you're
we'll see how they're getting on this week. The Yeovil winners are up against the Gothenburg Angels. It's probably a team they don't want to come up against. Yeah. The Kirkbowl Cowboys are up against the Turbo Titans. The Royal Raiders are up against the Bognor Regis Boggans, so that'll be a hard one for Aaron. The Darlow Destroyers are up against the South London Rebels. Just talk about that one. The Melbourne Supremacy up against the Whitford Educators, and the Kirkbowl Raiders are up against the Bognor Cowboys. So Alan will be looking for his second win in a row. He's up against Graham. So and then you've got
it's Graham's team's kind of fun. To be fair, the Bognor Cowboys was never a good team this year. It really wasn't. It was draft. The draft just didn't go right for him at all. But he was winning games at the start of the season. He was somehow finding the wins, But obviously the wheels have come off a little bit now, which happens. So you've got it. I fancy the Kirkwall Raiders to get that win. Bognor Cowboys are the ones that I'm kind of looking at and thinking, yeah, you're not going to get in. Aaron's just arrived in Vietnam now, so he's he's been away at resorts and islands off wherever. So he's now in Vietnam and should have better Wi-Fi. So I'm expecting a good push from him this week, managing his teams properly. And the Kirkwall Cowboys, Turbanville Titans. If either the winner of that game still got a sniff, the loser of that game is looking at staying up.
Well, Everett's picked up Casey and Booty, dropped Deontay Johnson, and picked up Kendrick Bourne, and dropped Mike Kazicki. So he's picked up 2 New England wide receivers. That's an interesting, bold move to try and turn that game around. I guess it was, yeah.
Indeed. And that's
so
the thing.
You've got to go for the long shots.
When you're chasing, you've got nothing to lose. So chuck them in there, That's the times that you play your Alec Pierces in case he gets that big bombing touchdown, That's when you play your Elijah Moores in case he gets all of those touches. I know he didn't on Thursday night, but, this is when you can roll these dice and play these players with very high ceilings but very low floors because you just throw them in there because what have you got to lose? Nothing,
Yeah. So we'll go on to Derek's one. So I don't know if it's actually Derek still watching. So we've got the Maze Howe division. You've got the Kilmarnock Kings 222.23 against the South Carolina Broncos 160.78. Good win, Derek. Whitford Warriors 231.69 against the Lancashire Bombers 242.56. That's a high scoring game. The Dobos Darlow Diamonds getting their first win. 217.48 against the Southampton Dockers 180.29. Glasgow Lightnings 140.97 against the Portland Lumberjacks 191.84. The Belfast Spelling Swarmers 229.18 against the Bognor Cheeseheads 199.63. Dickens Heath Demons 183.44 against 196.19. Crew Juggernauts. So this is a close one again. You've got the South Carolina Broncos at 7-4, Dickens and Heath Demons at 7-4, Crew Juggernauts at 7-4, and the Kilmarnock Kings all at 7-4. Then you've got the Lancashire Bombers, Portland Lumberjacks, and the Belfast Benchwarmers at 6-5, Glasgow Lightning, Whitchurch Warriors, and the Southampton Dockers at 5-6. The Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads at 4-7, and Dobo Darlings at 1-10. But at least they're on a one-game win streak.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads as well now from 4-7, Johnny, because it's the sixth place is 6-5. And it's not just that as well. You've got all of those 5s and 6s in between you that they can't all lose, you know, and with only 3 games to go. Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads have to win out, and even winning out might not be enough. But for all those above them, well, it's wide open, isn't it? I mean, right down to 10th place, could still technically win the division. I mean, it would be very difficult again, you know, all the teams in between, but right down to 9th place, 10th place can still win the division, 2 games behind. So massive games to come up, and every game that you win in this division is huge, you know. I would say that 8 are, you know, the 7 and 4s, one more win guarantees it. So you would think all of them are going to get in. But Lancashire Bombers and Portland Lumberjacks, they're holding on with the skin of their teeth. And, you know, Belfast Benchwarmers, they're on the same record, but outside the position. So every game, every point's a prisoner now. Good win for Derek this week, though. Well done, Derek. Nice one. Puts you 7-4, gives you that wee bit of breathing space. You know, if you'd have lost this week, 6-5, you're right in the mire. But that 7-4 just gives you that wee bit of breathing space and makes it look good for you making playoffs now.
So the only notable streak in this league is the Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads on a 3-game losing streak to fall down to 11th. So they were sitting
it's just the wrong. See if you have a 3-game losing streak at the start of the season. Look at whoever it was. I can't remember who it was now. The team that are on an 8-game winning streak. But you know, you go 0-3, and it's Whitehall White Tigers. When you go 0-3, you know, there's still plenty of time to get back over it, and then you get on that wee win streak, and you've won followed by another, and all of a sudden you're right back in it. But see if you go a 3-game losing streak at this point in the season, very hard to turn that round.
So we'll go to who's playing now. So you've got the Lancashire Bombers up against the Kilmarnock Kings, the Southampton Dockers up against the South Carolina Broncos, Whitchurch Warriors against the Portland Lumberjacks is another big game. Dobos Darlings are up against the Belfast Benchwarmers. Dickens Heath Demons up against the Glasgow Lightning, and you've got the Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads against the Crew Juggernauts. That's not who you really want to go up against when you're a 3-game losing streak, needing to win to get through. But yeah, some
definite
good matchups here.
I mean, just about every one of them is a good matchup, and this one for one reason or another. I'll tell you who'll be loving this. So the Belfast Benchwarmers, I know Dobos Diamonds just got their first win, but when you're sitting 6-5 and you're outside the playoff spots, playing the team that are bottom on 1-12 is huge, you know, and it's a good start that they've made to it as well. Although Judy is on the other side, so but the Belfast Benchwarmers have got to be. They've got to be thinking that they're favourites to win this week, and should they win this week, they will be then holding a playoff spot with 2 weeks to go, because they can't all win above them, you know. So very much they should be holding a playoff spot if they get the win this week. So a huge week for Belfast Benchwarmers, but it's a huge week for them all in this division. It's so tight. You can't afford to be losing with 3 weeks to go when the league's this tight. You've got to get that one.
Well, looking at the points.
I mean, the 5 and 6, for example, Southampton Dockers there. If Southampton Dockers were to go out and lose from 5 and 6, you know, at 5 and 7, when 6th place is going to be on 7 wins, well, you need to win out and you're still not guaranteed. So that is a problem. So the 5 and 6s, both the 5 and 6s, you know, they are Whitechurch Warriors as well, playing against the 6-5 Portland Lumberjacks. You lose those games, and with 2 weeks to go, you're pretty much dead. And Glasgow Lightning and playing Dickens Heath Demons. This league either closes down this week or it opens right up, one of the two.
Yeah, well, Dickens Heath will be wanting to get back in winning ways, and obviously, especially if the South Carolina Broncos win, it looks like they might do. Crew Juggernauts. The top teams are all projected to win. It might not happen that way, but You could have 4 teams at 8-4, so you really needed to win to keep in track for the top 2 spots. But the crazy thing is,
Absolutely.
Belfast benchwarmers could still win and still end up being in 7th spot.
Oh yeah,
on the
yeah,
points.
absolutely. But
So,
you would be very surprised. It would
whatever.
be very surprising if they did. You know, it would be very surprising if everybody there wins. Even when you look at my division, remember when the top 6 were playing the bottom 6, and never all the top 6 wins. You know, there was a couple that lost, and it always happens that a couple of them lose. So yeah, if Belfast benchwarmers win, they will be in the top, and they're not in the top 6 next week. That is a huge slice of unluckiness. That would tell me it's not their season this year if they win this week and aren't in the top 6.
Well, then there's still 2 games to go. They'd have a 2-game lead over the teams below them, and then there'd still be
exactly.
a good chance. It's in their hands. If they win out, they're probably a very good chance they're going to make the playoffs.
So if they win out, they'll be in the playoffs. They'll be playing one of those 6-5 teams in the last couple of games, I'm sure. But yeah, it's winning out, isn't it? But yeah, these ones are so close, but all the kind of teams that are up are playing against all the teams that are chasing the playoffs. So, you know, so it could really close this league down if the right team, if the the teams that are higher up win this week. It's going to shut down the whole entire bottom half, and it's going to be consolations, and it's going to be full on playoffs. And with 2 weeks to go, there'll be a lot of teams with not a lot to play for.
And Derek can obviously be wanting to get the win against Daniel to boost himself up to 84.
I mean, he wants to get. You want to get
in the mix. So.
You just don't want to go to if you go to 7-5, it's squeaky bum time a little bit. I know you're still going to get in, but it's squeaky bum time. Yeah, get the win, get it over the line.
Yeah, but if you go to 7-5, there's going to be one of these teams that's not going to make it at this rate because there's obviously 7 teams for the 6 spots, and 7-5 could be the worst score. So yeah, it's definitely squeaky bum time. But yeah, it's a cracking division.
There's going to be a lot of teams this week that are going to struggle with bye slots. You know, anyone who's got the Borough Chase stack, you've got to think's looking pretty unhappy this week. You know, you've got all the Bills players that are out this week. There's a lot of players out this week. There's a lot of players, as you've pointed out in week 14, but week 13 is a full card because it's Thanksgiving. So week 13 is the week that, you know, you would think that these teams that are on winning records, 7-4s, you've got all your players there apart from injuries to look at, to pick from. They'll all be looking at week 13 thinking that's the week that I can get it over the line. But why wait? If you can get it over the line week 12, get it over the line week 12.
I was just looking now. Derek's got golf. He's not got Lamar Jackson. I was just checking Derek to see if you're going to Buckers.
Lanarkshire Bombers has got Brock Purdy, who's out this week, so that's a problem for them. They're playing 2, obviously. Well, they've got 2 to plug in, but it's a problem for Jennings, and it's a problem for Kittle as well. The fact that he's out, that Purdy's out. So yeah, that looks very favourable for Derek in the sense that Lanarkshire Bombers have got Jennings in there, they've got Kittle in there, and Purdy's having to be benched. Obviously, that makes Derek heavy favourite.
Yeah. Might be a better day for McCaffrey, though, because you might see more of the ball.
I think you'll get a big game from McCaffrey this week. So. I think this is the week that he'll finally come back. You know, the Packers have not been defending the run well again this year. It's been a problem for a long time for the Packers, and we just never seem to be able to work it out. But
we said that with Chase and all that, who missed the pre-season, didn't do anything for the first 3 weeks, and then boom. And obviously this will be Caffrey's 3rd week back, so you never know. It might be next week, but you're like it's basically like a pre-season. So
the problem you've got with the problem that I would have with McCaffrey, and the worry that I have in the places that I have McCaffrey, is that if, you know, they're playing us this week and at Lambeau. Now, don't get me wrong, the 49ers are our bogey team. They really are. But if they've not got Purdy, if, you know, Bosa's...
They've not got Bosa.
Even if he plays, his hip's a problem, you know.
No, he's out.
No Ayuk. Bosa's out. So, you know, we really should win this week. I know what we've not been great, and there's something not quite right there, but we should win this week. Then they've got to go to Buffalo, and then they might be out the running. And see, if they end up out the running and not, if they're looking at it and thinking we can't get in the playoffs now, they're going to park McCaffrey for the season, I think. And that would be my bigger worry with McCaffrey owners.
Well, as long as you get them in the top half of the group, I'm not caring. He can play the next few weeks, and then he can bind him if he wants. But yeah, but
Bombers have got a 49er problem this week, and it's because they've got a quarterback that's not going to be very good. So they're going to go to McCaffrey a lot. Therefore, Jennings and Kittle, I just don't see as being as relevant this week as they should be.
Well, that's if Kittle plays. He never played last week, did he not? Did he play last week? No. I think
he didn't play last week. He was out, but I think he's fine for this week.
So we'll go on to the Marwick Head division. So we've got the Peterhead Bloody Jets, 203.34 against the Birmingham Master Chiefs, 220.78. The Cabite Porkers getting 207.23, but coming up against the Chester Hurricanes, 253.05. The Norwich Mustard Men, 169.44 against the Darlington Dragons, 150.42. I do apologise to Mark there, because since I said he was on a winning streak, that's him now lost 2 in a row, I think. The Sandbag Saints, 209.11 against the Wakefield 49ers, 198.94. The London Eagles, who were also on that 7-game win streak, now on a 2-game losing streak, 174.19 against 230.48 Guildford Raptors. Nottingham Rebels, 215.63 against the Gorgie Vikings, 208.58. So we've got the Birmingham Master Chiefs on their own at 8-3. Then we've got Sandbag Satans, Chester Hurricanes, Norwich Mustard Men, Nottingham Rebels, London Eagles, Darlington Dragons, all at 7-4. The Wakefield 49ers at 5-6. The Cabite Porkers 4-7. Guildford Raptors 3-8. Peterhead Bloody Jakes at 3-8, and the Gorgie Vikings at 1-10. So this is even better. All 8 and 4s between 2nd and 7th.
Yeah, so I mean, the Wakefield 49ers are not dead yet. They can, win 3 in a row, and if they win out, then they've got a chance of sneaking in. Of course they do. But outside of that, the rest below them are playing for the consolation bye week, and obviously the relegations in play for this division. But the top, look at the top; it's wide open, isn't it? All the way down to 7th place at 7-4. So one of those teams is going to be very unlucky to lose out on the playoffs. What one it is, we'll find out over the next 3 weeks. But one of them's going to be very unlucky to miss out.
Yeah, Darlington Dragons is 1-game losing streak, not 2. It's the Sandbag Satan. So it's London Eagles who are on 3-4. It's 2-game losing streak. But yeah,
so I mean, it's not the time you want to be on a losing streak, because that means that your players aren't playing as well as other teams' players. I mean, Birmingham Master Chiefs, not only have they got the 8 wins over, one win over the rest, but they've also got the highest point score at the moment. So, one more win for them should secure the division, and with it,
the
bye week in week 1 of the playoffs, that's huge for them. But the rest of them are wide open, and as I say, it's going to be a shame for whatever team misses out in the playoffs out of that lot, but one of them has to. I'm afraid it's just the way it is.
So the Birmingham Chiefs are on a 3-game win streak, and the Chester Hurricanes, who are sitting in third, are also on a 3-game win streak. And they've had some highs, kind of had a couple of low, but I think they've been the highest scoring team in the division a couple of times. So again, when their team hits, they hit, but obviously not always if they've lost 3 games, but 4 games. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting week.
This is when you want to be hitting the win streaks, this is right at the right time. It also means that your players are obviously on form, so this is when you want to be hitting them.
So the Chester Hurricanes are up against the
Chester Hurricanes as well.
The Darlington Dragons are up against the Birmingham Master Chiefs. It's a bit of a sore one when you need to win. Cabite Porkers are up against the Wakefield 49ers. You've got the Norwich Mustard Men against the London Eagles, 2 7-4s. There was another 2 7-4s, the Nottingham Rebels against the Sandbag Satans. Then the Guildford Raptors are up against the Gorgie Vikings. You've got 41 points on Thursday night. Way to go, Grooty. Even though you won't be listening because you don't listen to podcasts.
So there you go. That's the thing. It's you've got the 7 and 4s playing against each other. They're huge games. If the Wakefield 49ers want any chance of getting in, they got to beat the Cavite Porkers this week. There's no ifs, no buts, no maybes. But Cavite, Pork will be looking at the consolations now and thinking, I want to stay in Division 3, and that bye week will help me massively. And despite the fact my squad is the worst squad of fantasy football's ever seen, I've somehow managed to steal 4 wins. So I don't know how, but he's managed to steal 4 wins, and he's got a good chance of getting that bye week in the consolations now. So huge game there of, bring Wakefield 49ers into it. They're going to be in there anyway. It's going to be very difficult for them to catch those 7 and 4s, but it'll certainly put the final nail on the coffin if Cavite, if Port can get the win. But yeah, Birmingham Master Chiefs, if they can get the win over Darlington Dragons, that's it. You can, they're, even if it's not the division per se, it's certainly they're going to be top 2. So it gets them the bye week. So that's a huge game for them as well. Whereas Darlington Dragons, yeah, they would love to win this game. And if they win this game, it gives them a great shout at getting one of the top 2. But at the same time, if they lose it, it's no disaster. They've got 2 more weeks to find that last win, win that they'll need to get in. Yeah, Tillman's a bad start, isn't it? 2.3, it's half.
Yeah, who was that again? That was
Tillman.
Yeah, because he went out injured. I don't know if he came back or not, but he ended up the tunnel at some point in the first half of the first quarter. So because I did see
it's not a great start when you're playing the team that's above you, and you would really, you're chasing that win against them to try and get the top 2. It's not the best of starts, but it's only one player. It's only one. Birmingham Master Chiefs will definitely have a player who won't score very well every team. The teams are big enough that everyone has 1 or 2 in their starting lineup who just don't perform that week. So yeah, they'll be hoping that Birmingham Master Chiefs have 1 or 2. All big games, all close games. The 7 and 4s, as I say, one of them's going to have to lose out, which is a shame. So you got to get your wins. And Chester Hurricanes, they'll be absolutely cheesing that they're playing the Peterhead Bloody Jets this week. Not again. I mean, Peterhead Bloody Jets scored over 200 points last week, so it's not that they can't do it. But when you're 7 and 4 and still looking over your shoulder for playoffs, and indeed tied with outside the playoffs, you want to be playing the teams that are 3 and 8 and 1 and 10 and 2 and 9. They're the teams you want to be playing.
Definitely. So we'll go on to the final division, the Dwarfy Stain. So we've got the Bluetoon Texans, 235.94 up against the Knockcold Knockouts, 172.69. The Manchester Spinners, 213.19 up against the Rhiney Cardinals, 192.85. The Birmingham Bears, 148.88 up against the Gloucester Wolfpack, 168.36. Plymouth Assassins, 203.93 up against the Lagersville Lemons, 172.43. The Q Kings, 280.29 against 167.03, the Fullwood Patriots. Cork Red Army, 213.54 against the Bangham Sharks, 209.19, bit unlucky there, so. So you've got the Birmingham Bears hold on to the top spot, 8 and 3, with the Rhiney Cardinals 8 and 3. So both of them losing, but still 1 game ahead of the Bluetoon Texans at 7 and 4. Lagersville Lemon at 7 and 4. The Cork Red Army at 7 and 4. And 6th spot, you've got the Manchester Spinners at 6 and 5, and the Gloucester Wolfpack at 6 and 5. 8th spot, you've got Knockcold Knockouts at 5 and 6. The Bangham Sharks at 4 and 7. Q Kings and Plymouth Assassins both at 3 and 8, and the Fullwood Patriots at 2 and 9.
The standout for this league and the scoring of this, the standout is there's a couple of teams who are second favourites that have won this week, which has kept things very close, and it's kept it all very close. But the thing that's really standing out to me here is it's a proper kick in the bollocks for Q Kings. You're sitting at 2 and 8. You've had the shittiest season. You're sitting at 2 and 8, and boom! As soon as you hit that 2 and 8, and you're dead to the world, you score 280 points. It's just typical fantasy football, isn't it? It's just like, but it's a great win, and they're looking to win the consolations now to give yourself a boost going into next year. Obviously, there is no relegation. Don't you worry about that. But it's still nice to win the consolations, I feel, anyway. It's you always want to win what you're in. But very tight league again, and all the way down to about 10th can easily sneak in now. The 8 and 3s are obviously in, I would say, are in now, but those 7 and 4s are still looking over their shoulders. You know, Michael will be wanting that one more win. Lagersville Lemons will be wanting that one more win just to make sure. You don't want to be in the
Well, the
you don't want to be have to
Cork
relying
Army,
on points scored.
Cork Army, we're 1-4. They're on a 6-game win streak. And obviously, Bluetoon Texans are back on a 2-game win streak after a blip a couple of weeks ago. But they've been
So I mean,
scoring
Cork
obviously
are
the
doing
highest
it right
scoring
at the right
team.
time. And you know, when you're sitting at 1 and 4, that's when you really need to start the wins. You know, if you're 1 and 4 after 5 weeks, you really can't afford to be losing much more. So great time for the win streak to kick in and for them, you know, and it's and as you say, it's carried on. So happy days for them, but they're not there yet. They need one more.
So a big game at the top. You got Rhino Cardinals up against the Bluetoon Texans. You got the Gloucester Wolfpack up against the Knockgoal Knockout, so that's a good one. 5 and 6 and 6 and 5. The Manchester Spinners are up against the Lagersville Lemon, hoping to stop that 1-game losing streak. The Birmingham Bears are up against last week's highest scorers, Q Kings, so that was a good game. Cork Red Army are up against the Plymouth Assassins, and you've got the Fullwood Patriots up against the Bangham Sharks. So not high scores to start with, but
the kind of the top teams are playing each other in this division, and that's huge. You know, Manchester Spinners, if they can get the win, it keeps them involved. You know, if they lose to Lagersville Lemons, it's a long way back from there. Knockhill Knockouts and Gloucesterville Woolpack again. If Knockhill Knockouts can win, it opens it up. If Gloucesterville Woolpack win, they go 2 games ahead of them with 2 games to go. Put a line in that, you know. So 2 massive wins there. The 5 and 6s, if they don't, you know, the Knockhill Knockouts at 5 and 6 and the Manchester Spinners at 6 and 5 playing the 7 and 4. They're 2 absolute must wins.
you could potentially, if they both win, have 4 teams at 7 and 4 next week. So
And that's, you know, and that's the thing, you know, we always say that 7 wins is your target. If you get 7 wins, you really should make the playoffs. 7 and 7 gets in most leagues, but it doesn't get in all leagues because there are sometimes teams that are 7 and 7 in 7th place as well, and then it comes down to points scored, you know, in the tie break, and you just don't want involved in that. So I'm always target start of the season. You target 8 wins. You get 8 wins, you are in the playoffs, and if you don't get in the playoffs from 8 wins, there's something seriously wrong there, you know. So 7's not quite enough because, as I say, quite often 7 means that you come into a tiebreaker situation.
Cool. So then we'll have a look at the quarterfinals of the Rousay Cup. So obviously last week you had the Waterlock Warriors 199.14 up against 185.48 the Kirkwall Cowboys. The Sandbach Satans 209.11 up against the Whitchurch Warriors 231.69. The Bluetoon Texans with a nice 235.94 to 175.09 lead over the Gothenburg Angels. Then you got the nice one down the bottom there, 2 points between it. The Birmingham Master Chiefs 230.48 against the Glasgow Eagles 228.39. But obviously Graham's only got 7 points on Thursday night. So it gives them a 5-point lead going into Sunday, so it's not an awful lot. The Whitchurch Warriors had a good 26 points, so they've got a nice one. And then the Waterlock Warriors, Cowboys got 19 points, so it's got them a bit closer, but it's going to be another close game there. But yeah, the one down the bottom is going to be a cracker. So
I mean, if you take it, the Bluetoon Texans have obviously got a big lead, far from over lead. You know, it's not over. The Gothenburg Angels haven't had a player play this week yet. They could have a banging score this week that brings them right back into it. But if you take that one aside, the other 3 are all tight, Johnny. You know, there's less than kind of 20 points in any of them after week 11. So 22 there for Sandbach Satan's biggest one. So yeah, I mean, there's all 4 games are still live, but 3 of them are as tight could be. So it'll be interesting to see how this week goes, and if Kirkwall Cowboys, Sandbach Satans, and Glasgow Eagles can mount the comeback, and if Gothenburg Angels can find a big score from somewhere to challenge Bluetoon Texans, it's all still to play for. If I was Michael and Bluetoon Texans, I'd be delighted. And then the other 7 are wide open, you know. Get the right team in this week. Get yourself into the semi-finals.
Yeah. It's just because obviously And our semi-final 3 plays 4, so obviously it'll be the winner of the Bluetoon Texans and Gothenburg Angels will be playing the Birmingham Master Chiefs and Glasgow Eagles. So potentially we could have a show me the money semi-final.
So we could.
In
So
one
we
game.
could with the Bluetoon Texans and the Glasgow
And
Eagles.
And if Ross gets through, that'll be 3 out of the 4 will be in the show me the money.
Well,
That's
let's hope we
impressive.
get.
Out of 96 teams, that'll be pretty good.
That'd
But like I say, there's still
pretty impressive.
a long ways to go, but it's looking good, nice and fun. Oop, get rid of that.
Excellent.
There we go.
And
So
that's week
us for
11 in the
week.
bag, is it, Johnny?
That is. So I'll talk about next week because I'm off next week. Do you want to do it on the Sunday, like 1 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm easy peasy.
So game day one?
Anytime you want. Next week, I'm good. Anytime you want.
Well, we'll see what time church is, but we'll do it in the afternoon because it's quite a nice one on the Sunday before. And because like 1 or 2 people caught it last week and found out players were out and actually changed their team, so it's quite good. So we're a bit
That way we'll have the Thanksgiving games in the bag as well, so we'll have more to look at for the upcoming weeks. So there'll have been 3 games.
And the Black Friday game as well. So there'll be 4 games before then, because obviously there's the Chiefs and Raiders on Friday night. So hence why I've got the whole weekend off. Well, yeah, but thank you for Derek for watching. He's gone now, but obviously we've talked about him, he's away. And anybody else that catches up on the show, we hope you enjoy it. And you can maybe understand us this week. But I did try to speak a bit better, but I do have a bit of an accent, so it's hard to understand. But yeah, thank you for coming on, Craig.
We've all got accents. That's the thing about these Americans, Johnny. They think they've no got accents. It's all us that have got accents. Let's remind them where that language came from in the first place, okay? It's not called American.
Yeah, well, that's true, yes. American English, it's a good song by the American Idol World. But
it's them that have got the accents, Johnny, not us.
True. Well, good luck, everybody, this week, apart from Doug, obviously, because you wanted to lose to get you a bit of a leeway. And we'll see you all after Thanksgiving. So for all you Americans here, and obviously
happy Thanksgiving when it comes.
Happy Thanksgiving when the time comes. Bye now.
Good night, all.